And now we're live.
Awesome. So, okay. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Julia.
Ironic's visiting. So Jay and I briefly discussed we thought it would be good to have a little meet and greet and for us to briefly talk about how we use Cinder. And I believe you guys have a question for us regarding Storyboard or our experiences, and we'll happily share those.
I think actually I got everything I needed on that yesterday,
okay.
Which was very helpful because now we have a plan to go forward with that. So I can share that part when we get there.
Okay, so how ironic is Cinder? So the way we use Cinder right now is we support the concept of storing attachment data from Nova into Ironic's volume connector API, or volume target API, which allows us to inform hardware of an iSCSI target to connect to boot, or set up an iPXE software loader to boot the machine via iSCSI. Naturally, one downside is that if someone's using Ceph and the Ceph driver is returning a Rados block device, we can't boot that.
Okay.
Does Ironic only do boot from volume, or is Cinder also used to add additional data volumes?
Right now, it's just boot from volume. We've talked about booting, actually using it for like booting RAM disks, potentially, or highly specific RAM disks. Although no one's actually doing that, as far as I'm aware. This functionality is still there, though. The way that the attachment process works from our standpoint is we're using the old attachment workflow that Cinder has. So we'd really love if someone wants to come help us update that. But we also have to store a persistent copy of the data locally in case Cinder's down, in case someone did something like build their entire infrastructure on top of, put Cinder on top of, and put Cinder on the infrastructure somehow. So we figured if we have the data, we can at least bring the machine back online without having to go to an API that might be down. So that's at a high level pretty much it. We also support storage of fiber channel information, although we do not support FCOE because I don't think there's a FCOE. I don't think there's FCOE in Cinder support yet, as far as I'm aware. No? Okay. So if you guys want to implement that, we can make it work. Any questions?
Go ahead. My mouth is so full.
Wondering, with the stuff we had talked about earlier about locking, if there's any concerns, but no, I don't think so with the way they're just putting volume.
Blocking for what purpose?
We have a thing with shared targets. Some storage devices share the same target, and with Nova, we need to do stuff to let them know if operations need blocking around it. But it doesn't sound like that's the case here.
Basically,
I'm just thinking
the problem is that if you share the target, when the iSCSI initiator starts, it scans all the LANs and adds them automatically, which means if you're sharing between two different nodes, that you will see the nodes from the other one.
Yep.
That's the problem we are having, basically.
So you actually want to have an interface so that Nova can say, oh, I shouldn't actually be using this, or...
No, basically, there are two things. We added to the iSCSI initiator an option, which is to disable all the automatic scans, and they are only done manually. So newer releases of OpenISCSI already have them, and OSBreak can check it and use it if it's available. And for the other cases, we are using a lock to the whole operation where, for the map and a map and detach. Basically, it's a log to do the whole operation in one and things like that. I don't know if you've encountered anything like that, like devices appearing in a node where they shouldn't be, like
Yeah.
a volume queue.
The closest analogy I can think of it with bare metal is I have a SAN configured with no one masking and everything's enabled, and I have direct attachment on multiple servers plugged into the fiber channel fabric. And both boot up, both scan, both try and add. And in that case, I guess it's whoever attaches it first gets the lock. But yeah, that's all built into that.
Mhm.
So. Awesome. Well, yeah, we don't need to touch that. Out of curiosity, has anyone talked about Cinder somehow having knowledge to support VSEF, Rados, iSCSI gateway stuff?
Look at the random.
So Lenovo would be interested in it.
Oh, okay.
And we have some implementations that we're working on that do more with the iSCSI support. We have not yet officially talked about adding that into
Okay.
Cinder. Well, because I mean, it would still use the same iSCSI support. We would just need to be able to indicate somehow for Ceph to use the iSCSI attachment flow. Have Ceph set it up as an iSCSI export instead of the normal
Yeah, and
Rados
change
flow.
the initialized connection data that is returned.
Yeah.
So I guess the feedback is Ironic is extremely interested in such support.
Okay.
Should it materialize, and if that interest needs to be conveyed to product management, we can provide use cases.
Yeah, that would be good.
I have people who want to work on Ceph stuff that I'm trying to get into the community, and we're looking for work for them to do. Would you, if I pointed them at this, because I think they would, I have a business case that I can sell it for on my end. That, though if you have more business cases, it would help.
So Ceph is very popular, but we just cannot sanely find a way to really boot directly to a Ceph block device.
Right.
And in a lot of cases where there was support to pass those parameters in the command line to the kernel, that's all gone
Okay.
in many cases. So we don't really have any good options to help enable this especially in larger data centers that want to really use Ceph.
Okay.
Short of hacking elements and stuff into their RAM disk to make it work. Yeah.
Well,
Which could be problematic or not.
yeah, and we're gonna have bare metal use cases where I could sell that.
The advantage with bare metal is where you have an iSCSI initiator built into the hardware,
Mhm.
and that configuration can just be set via Ironic. We have 2 vendors that support that right now. So,
I'm not sure if we have iSCSI support.
X Clarity,
X Clarity does it?
No.
No, of course not.
sorry.
Well, I don't have to tell them that. But if you don't have people to work on it, I have people that might be interested in working on it, and it would be hopefully a gateway drug for them.
Yeah.
Because they're like, I want to go do Ceph core work, and I'm like, that's not going to happen. Would you like to work on Ceph and OpenStack? So,
No, it sounds good. We'll have to rip in some of our Ceph people to just sanity check some things. But
okay.
it sounds like something we could.
My understanding is that there are some issues, but they're being worked on this half side of the universe. But
Multi-path?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect.
Is it perfect in any backend?
Clouds are not perfect. Let's put it that way.
Um, all right.
Other than RBD, are there any other cinder challenges that are
No.
running?
No, really, it's just RDB.
Because we're perfect.
Survey says.
Oh.
At least 3 people said Cinder was perfect in the survey.
But were those in German or had they been translated?
Well, one of them was in English, and I think it might have been me. The other ones were in English. I don't know if they were German translated or not.
Oh, because the reason I haven't shown the results to Ironic is because we have like a third of our comments in Chinese.
Oh, yeah.
We did.
How many comments did you have?
48, 49, I think.
Oh, what ours was.
No, we had 108
Wow.
or 102.
And 30 and 40 were changed.
20
Yeah.
no's.
Huh?
20 no's.
So, oh yeah, those are all in Chinese though. I'm like, no.
No.
I'm guessing they had no comment was what they're saying.
Yeah.
There are also some NAs. My comments are not applicable. So.
Well, that's fair. That's nice of them.
So, all right. Cool.
Does the Cinder community have anything for the Ironic community? No? Okay.
I wish I had more time to play with Ironic, but I know we use it a lot with our clouds and it works fine. So that's a good thing. So what came out of the discussion with you on Storyboard was I went and asked questions yesterday in the Storyboard meeting, and kind of got answers back that were like, yeah, we're working on that. We can do that. We're making improvements here, blah, blah, blah. So I felt a little better that we're headed, that they're working on it. And Octavia was in the room that apparently it had a laundry list for them. And they're like, yeah, they're actually fixing stuff, so that's good. So what our plan is to go with, rather than jump into it, design how we're going to use it first to our advantage.
That's a good plan. We can do that.
Yeah, and that was part of,
painful as a result.
yeah, that was part of what I had said there, and give them a little more of this release to keep working on things. But basically prototype everything in Storyboard Dev, document how to use it in our documentation, and then through reviews of the documentation, come to agreement as to how we want to use it and why, and then that will be our, our guide forward when we actually move to it, probably at the end of this release. So that's our plan.
I wish we had had that advice.
Yeah.
Well, but somebody had to go first to convince us, the rest of us, that we could go. And Julia's just that awesome that she went.
Has anybody done that?
I wanted the single pane of glass.
Yeah.
And that makes it a lot easier to look at bugs.
I just don't know because I can't use Storyboard.
Has anybody been through that process of trying to decide how to use it, documenting it? I mean, is there an existing document you could just take as a starting point?
So I've read through their documentation, and it's a lot of purposefully high level. Here's how you could use it and what it supports. There's no specific examples, and because I don't think they want to provide them. They want the teams to figure that out on their own, which is one of the things I didn't necessarily like about it, but now I'm like, well, as we started talking through it, our bug tracking has been terrible. I don't think we ever documented a lot of those processes. It was, well, John Griffith did this and passed it on to Thingy, and Thingy did his version and passed it on to Sean, and Sean passed it on to me, and then I didn't really keep up with all of it. And, you know, Eric's been doing some of it in the background, and Sean does pieces of it, and I do other things, and it's like, okay, it's time to just figure out a process that's beneficial to all, and I'm sure that we're going to go through iterations on it, but it's better to thoughtfully do it and have something for the future than not, because, you know, I think it goes with where we're at in OpenStack right now, which is we're going to need to be able to more efficiently and thoughtfully handle bugs as we have more users who are going to want our responses to those things. I'm also going to try to figure out how to, we want to have some response to the user feedback. So I'm going to talk to Kendall Waters and find out if there is an appropriate way to kind of respond.
I would love to be in that discussion.
Okay.
Because, and I actually did, I guess we're completely going off the rails and at this point kind of in terms of project to project communication, but I did have a discussion with, I think it was one of the Kendalls and someone else yesterday regarding the fact that some of the issues that we're running into in user survey feedback are perception or lack of current context.
Yep.
And it's because we go cycle to cycle and we haven't really filled in the people in that knowledge gap between when we actually, before we start doing project updates.
Yep.
So we only updated in the last 6 months. Well, we had like all of our networking changes landed before that, then people might be oblivious to that.
Yep.
So that seems to be a big part of the issue that we're seeing in our feedback.
Well,
But we have a bunch that's only translation.
yeah, and our feedback has probably like 12 big categories or 10 or something. You know, there's all the people saying we want multi-attach, and we're guessing all of those people are using Ceph. And so we can be like, those of you who are looking for multi-attach in Ceph, we're working on that this release. And, you know, there's a whole bunch that are like, we want to automate backup. Well, we purposefully don't automate that because there are these tools that you can do that with. You know, but have some sort of response so they don't feel like they're yelling into a garbage can.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And my thought was kind of maybe we make informational videos or little how-to videos or something and publish them.
Oh,
But I do think there probably also needs to be a comprehensive written thing by each project. Probably going, hey, we kind of saw this. Here's our take on it. We're open to more dialogue. Kind of standpoint.
Yep, and that would be good if it's more than one project coming forward saying that.
Yeah, because I think it's important for us to make sure that we're on the same page, and it sounds like in many cases we're not on the same page as our users.
Yeah.
So, awesome.
Cool.
Well, I think it's beer o'clock.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't, anybody else have anything to discuss? No? Again, thanks for the help with the storyboard stuff. We'll look into the iSCSI for Ceph. I think it's interesting because I've had that piece bouncing around in the back of my head for a little while if it's something we wanted to think about, and that kind of answers the question. So that's good. And I'll keep you in the loop on that one.
Awesome.
Cool. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it.
Thanks for all your great work. Looking forward to that stuff.
Yep. You're welcome.